Hi team, well today I'm very privileged to have one of my long-term clients, Kyne Larkin, has taken the time out to give me some of his insights and feedback from his experience as a leader running a business. So a little bit of background on you, Kyne. Thanks mate for joining us.
No problem, Nick.
Kyne is running a business called Whites Powersports. They operate in New Zealand and Australia with about 60 people in their team. It's a very large, diverse organisation, and it's very fast-paced business that Kyne's in. So I thought, in fact, being a family business as well, I thought we'd find a little bit about Kyne's view on leadership, some of the challenges he's faced, and also some of the family dynamic issues that you grapple with as a family-owned business. So I want to start off, Kyne, if you can just give us a bit of your personal history, like what have you done before this, and then tell us of your time at Whites.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Nick. So I've been in the business now coming up 12 years. Before that I was in the UK for 11 years, mainly in IT distribution, IT sales. And then my father rang up and said, hey, I'm getting pretty busy over here now that you don't have too many ties in the UK, because I just got divorced and sold my house. Why don't you think about coming back and helping me out?
And that was in 2000?
That was in 2006.
Okay.
Yep, so I said, hey, give me a summer to say goodbye to all my friends and enjoy myself. And then I'll come home towards, at the start of the New Zealand selling season or New Zealand spring.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so where did you start off with? Did you start off at the CEO position where you were?
Absolutely not.
So
no.
Where did you start?
No, I needed to learn from the ground up, because it is, like you said in the intro, it's a very diverse business. I started off in the warehouse, and then I was a sales rep on the road, learning the customers, learning the trade, learning the products. And then I moved into the office in an operational capacity, became operations manager, general manager. Then we bought an Australian company, then became general manager of the group, and now CEO. Yeah. Okay.
So you've worked your way up through the company. Was that something that you and your dad decided was the right thing to do, or was it a choice you made, or how did you?
It was a bit of both, but it was just the natural way that things needed to happen. Otherwise, of course, in a family business, you get sometimes there can be a perception that you're in the chair because you're part of the family rather than you deserve to be in that chair. So it was very important for me to learn all the facets of the business and get that well-rounded view of our business and of our customers.
All right, and just on family businesses, because of course I work with a lot of businesses like yourself, and as you know, a lot of them are family business.
Yeah.
Those family dynamics, mums and dads, brothers and sisters, brothers and brothers, how's that working with you? You've got your brother running Australia, you've got yourself running New Zealand and Australia, you've got your dad Keith, he's all over the place around the world doing all sorts of things. How do you get on and clearly define your roles and separate that from your personal family relationships when you're running the business day to day?
Yeah, that certainly evolved over the years. In the early days he absolutely called the shots, because he owned the big bit of the checkbook and had been in the industry for 35, 40 years, so there was a lot to learn off him. As we grew bigger and more complex with a larger team, there needed to be a lot less crossover of responsibilities and roles. So he sort of worked himself into a chairman of the board, international man of mystery type role now, where he travels the world, meets suppliers, and he's very good at our product side, at introducing new products.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you find that like the business relationship ever spills over and you're talking about business home, or do you have any rules set up around that?
Oh, hey, we have. My mother in particular has these rules set up, but they don't last very long, because we live and breathe business when you're a business owner.
My family as well.
There's no such thing as a work-life balance. Your work is your life. Let's face it. So we do have a lot of family type things to discuss also when we're not at work, but inevitably the conversation does come back to work, and because we're travelling a lot, so catching up with each other, particularly my brother, happens few and far between.
Sure.
So yeah, we talk a lot about work, but hey, we live and breathe it, and it's our passion as well. So
yeah, well,
it's not hardship.
Well, from my experience, you've got that sort of relationship thing sorted. A lot of businesses I work with, family businesses, they have that struggle around that, separating the personal from the professional. Yeah. So certainly good to hear that you guys have that sorted. And I guess, did you agree upon anything there in the early days? Was there sort of like, well, okay, these are the rules around our family relationship, personal relationship, these are rules around our professional, or because you just know each other so well, whenever you have any butting of heads, you just work through that? I mean, how does that all work?
Well, there's a certain amount of suck it and see, I think, particularly in the early days where we felt each other out, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'd lived overseas for 11 years.
Yeah.
But it's very lucky that both Dad and I are capitalist scum. we really do enjoy business. We've both got the same work ethic and the same priorities in life, and very much from the same values. Obviously, he's my father.
Yes.
So in terms of butting heads and family dynamics, and that does happen. But we're big enough and ugly enough, and to be able to sort that out without it spilling over into family life. In the past few years, we've taken on an independent director onto our board.
Yeah, how's that working for
It's
you?
working great. So, from a governance piece and from an experience piece, this gentleman provides us a lot of insights, and he's a fantastic sounding board.
Yes.
And it also takes a lot of that emotion out of a family business in terms
Right.
of the decision making.
Right. Someone third party independent, you can say.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Almost like the King Solomon.
Yep, yep, it is. I mean, and it's particularly rare that we do have differing views.
Yeah.
But of course, Dad and I being so similar, there's not much point. We do need somebody else on the board
Yes.
that has a differing view, that offers a different viewpoint.
Okay, so there you go. One of the things you might want to consider if you've got a family business is bringing someone third party in that you both respect and trust to help you with those difficult decisions when you're at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Give a bit more context around what Whites Powersports actually does, what you do, and sort of a bit of your history. I think when you founded in 1952, was it? Or?
Yeah, the company was founded in 1952. William White was the gentleman's name, and back in those days I believe he was the importer of Triumph motorcycles, Velocette motorcycles, and the business morphed into a retail and wholesale division type company over the years.
Right.
It was owned by the Moller Corporation, and then my father was a motorcycle dealer and sold out his share in that in, I believe, 1992. And 1994 he bought W. White Wholesale, it was called. It was based in New Plymouth, moved it to Hamilton, and has built it up since then.
Okay, and so obviously it's changed a lot over the years, but if you could sum up in a handful of descriptors what has been the key from going from there to where you are now, a very successful organisation, what would be the key to that success over those last sort of 24 years since '94?
It's all about staff and customers. It's
Yeah.
all about win-win. It's all about giving our customers what they want,
Yeah.
what they need, and of course our team members, our staff, have been an absolute integral part of that.
So, Whites Powersports been around since 1952. Give us a little bit of an outline of actually the history of Whites Powersports and what Whites Powersports actually does.
Yeah, that's right. My father bought the business in 1992. Between 52 and 92, it was a motorcycle importer, retailer, parts and accessories wholesale distribution company. And our current guys, and since 92, we've been a motorcycle parts and accessories wholesale distributor. So we're dealing with every motorcycle retailer, repair outlet, rental, tour operator in New Zealand and now Australia. So since 1992 we've bought 4 competitors, integrated those into our business, which has given us more additional brands and entry into other markets. Got 60 odd staff in 2 countries with 6 warehouses. Yeah. Okay,
and what would be some of the brands that people out there might know or have heard of that you guys distribute around Australia and New Zealand?
The major brands are in motorcycling, obviously. So we do Shoei helmets out of Japan, Arcade Chain out of Japan. We do Bridgestone motorcycle tyres, famous.
Bridgestone?
Yeah, famous Japanese company.
Yeah.
We also do a lot of apparel type product, fly racing. We do Dry Rider, which is an Australian-based brand. And many others. We've got over 50 suppliers on our books.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of your values in your business, because I know that you're very, very strong on your personal business values and you hold, I want to ask you how you use them in a minute, but what are those values?
Yeah,
what do they mean?
Yeah, my personal values are very much acting in the spirit. So that encompasses that whole honesty and integrity piece.
Yeah.
Family first, not just for me, but for our team members as well.
Sure.
Family's got to come before business. Everything needs to be win-win, and we like to have a lot of fun doing it. I like to have fun doing what I do, yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love those values. And in terms of using them in your business as a leader and with your team, how do you make sure those values come alive and are lived? Because some of you may have seen, I put out a story about Norwegian Cruise Lines that completely violated their values by allowing some major work to go on the ships. So we're meaningless, but I know that they mean something to you.
Yeah, they absolutely
do. How
do
you uphold those, and what do you do to make sure that they are vibrant throughout every one of those 60 people across all of those locations?
Yeah, well, in terms of our induction process, we drum those core values home.
Yeah.
So our company core values are fun, always learning, passion for power sports, and acting in the spirit, similar to my personal core value.
Absolutely.
So we do print, we do have a lot of posters around the business with those core values on there.
Yeah.
Every month we have a core values legend where the team will vote for one of their peers.
Yes.
With regards to who has lived up to those values the best, and that person gets a free day off work.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, in all decision making, we're making sure that we do come back to those core values and making sure that every decision we're making in business, whether it's a new customer, a new partner, a new brand, also aligns with those core values.
Sure, okay, fantastic. So around your routine, one thing about Kyne team is that he is a fantastic learner and he is always passionate about absorbing knowledge, and I know that you've developed over the years I've known you a morning routine which sets you up for your day, and as you know, and as all you know out there, I am a huge believer in pattern routine. As Tim Ferriss says, win the morning, win the day. So can you share with us, would you feel comfortable sharing with us, your morning routine from the time you wake up to get you ready for the day and make sure that you execute everything you want to do in your day?
Yeah, so it doesn't always work, but the absolute plan, and what I try to do most of the time is I wake up at 5 or 5:30. I'm not much of a sleeper. So I get up, jump on the treadmill for a bit, and then I've got a home office, so I'll check my emails, and then I like to go for a swim.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a tea nut, so I make sure I start freebasing tea, drink a lot of tea during the day, and then come to work. I've already cleaned off all those emails at home, and start my day with the team.
Okay.
Obviously after a hard day at work, I get home to my family, who are normally waiting for me at the front door, and I'll grab some dinner, grab a few glasses of wine and a spa, and then do some meditating. I've got a Shakti mat.
Oh, yeah, how do you find that?
Yeah, great.
How long can you lie on that thing?
I fall asleep on it.
Do you?
Yeah, it's quite embarrassing because the kids normally come up and say goodnight, and Dad's naked asleep on a Shakti mat.
Do you listen to any sort of meditation apps while you're doing that?
I sure do.
And how do they help you? A lot of people think meditation's weird, right? It's kind of very fairy, but
So did I.
Yep.
So did I. But in the past 6 months, it's really made a difference. I've always been a very much shoot from the hip, emotionally up and down. Emotional, very passionate sort of guy.
Yes.
And one thing that you in particular taught me is that the best leaders in the world, or the most respected leaders, are seen as being cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So I've tried to build that into my life: respond, not react. A lot more collected in my thoughts and a lot more steady. So meditation to me, I think you mentioned Tim Ferriss before.
Yeah.
He really summed it up for me. It lengthens the time between event or stimuli and your response.
Right.
So I find what it's done for me is it allows me to stop and think about my response should be, and not just blurt out the first thing that comes to my head.
That is very cool, and that's a big change.
It's been a massive learning for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and team, I'm not saying you need to get meditation into your life, but you need to develop something that helps you centre. That's Kyne's way of centering. And another thing about learning is, I know you're learning all the time. You've got some pretty cool different ways of taking information. You use lots of different sources.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us some of the ways that you like to learn new knowledge and about around leadership and being a culture and a people guy? How you upskill yourself? What are some of the things you do to learn?
I'm doing a lot of soaking up. Absolutely. I realised a couple of years ago, sort of an epiphany, that there's only one person that's responsible for my development, and that's myself. So since then, there's been a lot of books, audio books, listen to a lot of podcasts. They're always on in the car. In fact, I bought some waterproof headphones so I could listen to them in the spa.
You fall asleep?
Yeah, as I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And things like apps, and of course working with people like you.
What's your favourite sort of app that you use to learn that maybe you can share with the team? I know you've got Udemy, for example, but
yeah, I've got Udemy, which Udemy, which is an app, or udemy.com, udemy.com.
Yeah.
They got a lot of online courses. So the last 6 months I've done courses on being an expert in Excel, being an expert in Outlook. I'm currently doing a mindfulness course. You can do an MBA in 25 hours.
What do these courses cost you?
Oh, they're $10. They're always on sale. They're $10.
Hello.
Yeah. So productivity courses.
So let me ask you this, because have you always been a voracious learner, or is it something that you've said, I need to start doing this?
You know, it might be a bit midlife crisis in that, I think. You get to a certain point, and you get to a certain level, I guess, CEO, general manager, whatever you want to call it, that, right, where to from here? You know, so I've obviously learned quite a lot about myself and my industry. Yeah. But I'm pretty keen to learn off other people and learn some other concepts and ideas that I can bring into my professional life. And as I said before, with things like mindfulness and meditating, what have you,
yes,
a lot of the content that I've taken over to my professional life has actually made more of a difference to my personal life.
There you go. You heard it here first. So if you want to become a well-rounded leader, and those of you that know me know that I believe in leadership as a holistic thing, this stuff translates into your relationships with your family, friends, loved ones, and those around you, yeah?
Oh,
do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about leadership. So over the last 11 years, what is or what has been your biggest leadership challenge?
I would say my biggest leadership challenge has been letting go, has been trusting other people and trusting the process.
Right. It's
a
challenge.
I've been very hands-on. Certainly in my younger or earlier years, I was guilty a lot. I'm not proud of it, but I was guilty a lot of seeing the team as stepping stones to success, as cogs in the machine, rather than as human beings with their own priorities and needs and wants.
And how did you change that viewpoint to where you are now?
Just more maturity, I guess. More maturity, more time. You know, gave them more time. As we grew bigger, I had to take my hands off the reins and trust other people a bit more.
Right.
So yeah.
It's a huge challenge for a lot of the clients I work with as they're transitioning from this level of revenue to that level of revenue. You get, double the people, you get double the problems, but they don't want to let go. So I don't know what else to say around that team except that if you have any challenges around that, feel free to put them in the Ask Nick slot on my website, and we'll see if we can help you with that. But in terms of mistakes, what have been your biggest leadership mistake over the years?
Yeah, that's probably the main one for me. Is treating the team not as they would need to be treated.
Right.
Treating the team as, like I said, cogs in the machine.
Okay. And you know that I'm always about that unspoken conversation, those difficult ones. What's the most difficult conversation that you have to have with a leader, as a leader, and how do you approach that conversation?
Oh, hey, there's the usual hiring, firing, and performance issue conversations. None of those are ever easy, because there's never going to be a winner out of those conversations. I would say to you that the most difficult conversation I've had is around personal hygiene.
How do you approach that?
You've just got to front end it, mate. There's no use sugarcoating things like that. It's very much a case of...
I'm sitting here and I have got bad BO. How do you say that to me without making me really break down and,
all I had to say was, hey, there's no easy way of saying this, Nick, but I've got a little bit of feedback from the team I need to discuss with you around your personal hygiene.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks, and maybe hand them the links or something like that while you're doing it. It's a challenging conversation, any of those conversations. In terms of poor performance, you've got someone that's not performing. Do you cut to the chase, or is there a long, drawn-out performance management process? How do you approach that conversation?
Oh, hey, you've got to cut to the chase. You've got to cut to the chase, because I always think if it was me in the other chair, I would want to know if I wasn't performing to expectation.
Right.
That doesn't always work in that manner. But hey, exactly what you say, the unspoken conversation. Right. It's your job as a leader to get those conversations on the table, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
And they're never easy.
So you heard Kyne say, I've said it before, team, I use that expression, rip the plaster off quick. If you've got a difficult conversation, the best thing to do is dive in and have it. Prepare though, you need to prepare before you have it. Yeah, you don't just rock in there. In terms of your one piece of advice you'd give to a young leader, a millennial, let's say someone under sort of 32, what would be the number one bit of advice to these people that want to become business owners and they want to lead and manage teams? What would you say to them?
In terms of millennials, yeah, that's an interesting one, Nick. I'd say a couple of things. I would say one is that the world owes you no favours. You've got to get in, pull your sleeves up and graft.
Yes. And
the other one is put your device down and learn how to talk to people face to face and interact with people and learn about people. And, outside of the digital sphere. Right. Because that's hugely important in our space.
How much do you rate interpersonal relations, the ability to relate to other human beings, as important to the success of Whites over the years?
Oh, it's the be all and end all. Whether it's dealing with our team, whether it's dealing with suppliers or of course customers, it's those interpersonal relationships that just have been the largest part of our growth.
Okay. So if you're under 32 watching this, you need to develop those skills of building relationships and trust with other people, because I know, working with Kyne and his team, that they go overseas all the time, and you don't get to deal with someone like Bridgestone unless you're able to build those relationships with the people face to face, right? You can't do it on map, you can't do it online. In terms of, if you were 20 years old again, what would you say to your own 20-year-old self?
I would say slow down. It doesn't need to happen tomorrow. You know, you're in this for the long haul. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All of those cliches. Yeah, slow down. Get an understanding of who you are and what you want, and then go at it.
Right.
I mean, I wish I knew now what I knew at 20 years old. I know everybody our age says that, but if I knew half of what I knew now, that would be a good thing. But yeah, slow down, work hard, you know, respect yourself, get some self-confidence, some self-esteem, because I never had that 20 years ago.
Right.
And good things will happen.
Fantastic. Perseverance, delayed gratification, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. And if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
No idea.
So this is that. See, that's the answer on here. So that leads me to my next question. Purpose. Why do you do this? Why do you get out of bed every morning and come here? You could be doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, I've never looked over the fence. That's why I don't know what else I'd be doing. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing now so much, and that is around dealing with people. You know, I spent a lot of time on the tube in London, all suited and booted, talking to FTSE 250 CIOs and CFOs about concepts and technologies that 15 other people were hassling them about. The industry I'm involved in now is full of very passionate people who all share a common interest in motorcycles. So working with really good people, customers and team and suppliers, is something I really get a lot of enjoyment out of.
Fantastic. In terms of books, if you could recommend one book that to business leaders or aspiring business leaders to read that you've read, because I know you've read tons of books, what would that book be?
I'm going to go the old favourite, mate, Dale Carnegie and How to Win Friends and Influence People. Tim Ferriss has been good for me in terms of, in the early days, 4-hour work week, but just lately, Tools of Titans and Tribe of Mentors. Yeah, both of those are very good. Another one, Stephen Covey, the seven habits of successful people.
Great.
Yeah, those are probably the standouts for me.
I totally agree with you. The first book I recommend any of you read, Dale Carnegie, written in 1937, hasn't changed.
No.
And in terms of the business phone call you never want to receive, what would be the phone call you never want to receive as a leader?
A business phone call, it would be obviously, you know, injury or worse to one of my team members or business partners.
Sure.
Or crime or unethical behaviour for the same. Those would be the worst, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of words, like Warren Buffett was asked what one word describes him best. He said focus. What one word describes you best, Kyne?
Hungry.
Okay, great. And that probably answers my next question, but one of the big challenges I see in leaders, in some leaders anyway, is their ability, and particularly with young people, to maintain energy every day. And you've got a huge amount of energy and drive. So how do you maintain that energy and drive over the long term? Because you get out of bed every day and you give it 110. How do you do that?
Hey, it's not always easy, but you need to. Everyone's looking at you as the leader or the figurehead to set that tone, set that mood, set that energy. So, you know, I like that white line mentality. You know, you always see the All Blacks when they run down the tunnel. They walk down the tunnel.
Yep.
As soon as they get to that white line at the edge of the pitch, they start sprinting and,
Yes.
and jumping and hopping about.
Yes.
And I'll bring that into my day. As soon as I walk through that door, it's all on. It's difficult to manage over the long term, of course.
Yeah.
But I sort of set myself different KPIs and different measures of success, depending on the time of the year and the business climate. Sometimes it's figures, it's revenue and cash surplus.
Yes.
Other times it's what sort of impact you're making on your team members, what I'm doing to my leadership team in terms of developing and enhancing their development. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what, in terms of your industry, what do you think is the most disruptive change facing you over the next 3 to 5 years?
To my industry, well, there's several. Change of government, there's still a lot of there's still a lot of uncertainty there.
Yep.
But if I had to pick one, it would probably be the taxation differences with international e-tailers,
Yes.
and the ability for the New Zealand consumer to bring product in GST free, GST thresholds being too low.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And last question is, if you could, open mic to you, you can say anything you want in terms of advice to other leaders or business owners out there, or anything at all you want to finish up with. The floor's yours. What do you want to close with?
Work with Nick.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. And team, if you've got any questions, feel free to post them below, and I will answer those as they come through. Thanks,
Nick. Thanks for everything you do.
Oh, great. Thanks.